couple of things we want to discuss, really all related to one thing. There's three parts to this, something that has been, unfortunately, a long time in the making. The unfortunate part is that we even have to have the discussions that we're going to have. The fortunate part is that due to a lot of good, thoughtful dialogue that has occurred, we have what I believe will be a very appropriate and necessary resolution. This is all related to the University of Louisville. There are three parts to what I'm going to announce. Then I'll be happy to take questions from any of you. There has been, and there's no need to reiterate all of the various things in the news, but there have been a number of news stories, many of which you all have covered, that have been in the wind in recent months and frankly years as it relates to the University of Louisville, that have shed less than the best light on the university and the Commonwealth as a whole. This led to a number of discussions with a number of constituents, alumni, faculty, administrative folks, people in government, people outside of government, a tremendous number of business people who I have spoken to who have a real heart and a passion for the university and for its role in the Commonwealth. There is, I think, pretty much uniform agreement among all people with whom I've had conversation. And when I say uniform, I don't know of anybody who would disagree with what I'm about to say. The board as it exists right now is not particularly functional. Its dysfunction has precluded it from doing what its responsibility is, and that is to be effective fiduciary leaders of the university. That is the role of the board. And so today I want to announce to you the fact that we are going to start putting that house in order. We're going to do three things to start that process. The first is by the powers that have been given me, not only in our state constitution, but in KRS statute as well. I am going to reorg that board. This is being done for three primary reasons. It's being done to improve the efficiency of the board, the economy of the board, and frankly, to improve the administration of the university. That is the purpose of the board. It has not been able to successfully fulfill that mission in recent months. And so for the purposes of economy and efficiency and improved administration, we are going to actually remove the existing board members. I am asking the Council on Post-Secondary Education within 2 weeks from today to provide me with names of candidates for the board. This previously had 17 members, this board, plus 3 that came through channels associated with the university, the faculty, the students, etc. Those 3 channels will continue to be exactly as they were. Those folks will come through those channels exactly as they have. In fact, those same individuals who had previously been put there through those channels will be part of the newly constituted board. However, those appointed by the governor will not be 17, but will rather be 10. The newly constituted board will have 13 members. So what I am asking the Council on Post-Secondary Education to do is to provide me within 2 weeks with 30 names. From those 30 names, I will appoint 10 trustees. So that is one of the 3 parts of this. Simultaneous with this, I have received from President Ramsey a letter indicating his resignation and or retirement, exact semantics to be determined, and it will be determined by the newly constituted board. But he will be standing down, the timing of which will also be in conjunction with the decisions made by that new board. It could be effective immediately. He is willing to do that. I am willing to accept that. I think there are many involved that would think that this opportunity for a fresh start is really what is needed. I've had dialogue with President Ramsey about this. He recognizes this. His letter, a copy of which we'll be happy to share with you all if you're interested, includes those exact words. It's words that have been a part of what we've spoken about in this administration. He too wants to see a fresh start. I want to start, before I mention the third and final piece, which is just an interim piece, to also thank him and thank those trustees that have served. Because for all of its dysfunction, I know personally a number of those that are on the board. I don't know them all, but I know many of them. And to my knowledge, certainly among those I know and even those that I don't personally know, I don't think there is one person on that board who came to that board with any intention of doing anything other than serving the university well. So it is my expectation, because they came with good intent, because they came in good faith, that they will accept and appreciate, frankly, what is being done here as what is in the best interest of the university. I know in speaking to certain members of the U of L community, that's what they're looking for. What is in the best interest of the university? I know, based on his letter that you will see, that is what is of interest to Jim Ramsey as well. And so the intent is to give a fresh start, to improve the economies, the efficiencies, and the administrative ability of this board to govern the University of Louisville, because its health and its vibrancy is a critical part of the Commonwealth. It's a critical part of our educational structure. And so this will give us that opportunity. There is a question, I'm sure, that could come up as to what about this 2-week interim period? There would be no board. What kind of checks and balances will be in place? In anticipation of those concerns, I am also issuing a second executive order simultaneously that will appoint an interim board for this 2-week period. These, frankly, are 3 people whose names I would like to see come back forward from CPE. I'll leave that to their determination. But the nominating committee will provide names. These 3 folks will be the interim, and they have all been, I've had conversation, personal dialogue with all 3. All 3 understand their responsibilities and are accepting those. Their names may or may not be familiar to you. One probably more than others. Junior Bridgman is one of them. Benita Black, who's an attorney in Louisville, is another. And Dr. Ron Wright is the third. They're all from in and around the U of L area geographically. 2 of them are graduates. All 3 have a vested interest. An attorney, a businessman, and a doctor, quite capable, quite competent. They will serve as the interim board for the next 2 weeks. What questions can I answer for any of you?
Governor, did you seek President Ramsey's departure?
I have had conversations for many months with many people, including President Ramsey. He and I have had multiple conversations about what is in the best interest of the university. The culmination of all the conversations I've had with everybody on all fronts is what I have just announced to you.
Governor, I'm not clear on that. I wasn't following it all too
What?
clearly. When,
Okay, I'm going to start over now for Tom. No, I'm just kidding.
when is President Ramsey stepping down? Or when do you expect, if it's not certain right now?
He is actually traveling on university business right now, even as we speak, outside of the country. I've had dialogue with him this week. He is willing to step down immediately based on the determination of the legally and fully constituted board. In fairness, he wants the board to be in place per its requirements. He will then give the letter, which already has been tendered, to their consideration. And so essentially it could be effective immediately. He's willing to stand down this, in 2 weeks, or it could be they would ask him to serve for some interim period. And frankly, I too, while I have some thoughts on that, I will defer that to the incoming board. That is their responsibility as fiduciaries of the university.
Governor Bevin, have you been in contact with any of the current board members? Have you spoken to them? Has any of your staff spoken to them? And when did they learn that they would be removed from this board?
They will be learning about it in large measure based on your reports coming out of here. This is not, as you can appreciate, Given the dysfunction, given the enmity, sadly, that has come to exist between certain factions within that board, whose primary sole mission was to be the benefit of the university, but has become, sadly, something other, it would have created a degree of fervor that would have been a distraction from our ability to do this. So the bottom line is, there has not been a lot of discussion with that existing board.
So safe to say that you felt that if you had spoken to them beforehand, word may have leaked out, there would have been other things happening. You felt this was the only way to inform them that the board was being dissolved?
Without question. I think their own conduct in recent weeks and months is indicative of the fact that the normal flow of information and the discretion of certain things, the ability to have civil discourse, is not perhaps what it should be. And it was with that awareness that I realized the most clean, simple, and easy thing to do was to reorganize it for the reasons that I've mentioned, and to move forward for a fresh start.
What was the tipping point for you? Because you've seen the coverage out of Louisville for months, if
Yes.
not more than a year.
Oh, this
You've
is-
seen the board meetings that we've covered and such. Was there a tipping point?
No, there really wasn't. It's a culmination of many things. This has been going on for quite some time. And again, there's no reason to rehash all of those issues. Some have had to do with academic things, some have had to do with administrative things, some have had to do with athletic things. But there are a whole variety of issues that have been associated with the university that have not been in the best interest of the university. And so there was no single thing at all. Quite the opposite, and it was very intentional. This is something, let's be honest, that has needed to be done for quite some time. It really has. I don't think there's a person who's been watching this that would disagree with that. The question was, how can it best be done in the best interest of the university? And that's what this is.
Is this the first time that a university board has been reorganized by executive order?
I truly don't know. Here's what I know. In the last 4 administrations, there have been 357 board reorganizations. I have not looked at every single one of those. In the previous administration, there were 103 board reorganizations. Whether some of those were university boards, I truly don't know. I don't know. And it's irrelevant, frankly, as it relates to this situation.
The trustees, are they all gone as of right now? The former trustees, are they out of office?
They are, as of an executive order that I signed this morning.
And that would also apply to the student trustee, the faculty representative?
No, again, this is the part, you've missed 2 parts here now, Tom. Those 3 folks will continue to be in the same roles. So there are 3 representatives of various parts of the university's body, faculty, staff, students. They will continue forward in their role. They will be part of the new group of 13, those very same 3 people.
Is it fair to conclude that the others who are people removed are not likely to be reappointed? You don't think
Again, I don't think that's a fair. I don't want to jump to conclusions. I would not mind at all if CPE put their names back forward again. I really wouldn't. Every one of these people is a good person. This is nothing on any one of them as individuals. They're smart people, they're competent people, they're accomplished people. They're people who have stepped forward, as I said, I believe, with good intent to serve the university. That has gotten sidetracked. But if their names were to be among those 30 names that were for me to consider, I'd be happy to take them into consideration. I really would.
Governor Bevin, have you discussed any of this with Coach Pitino? How is Coach Pitino impacted by your decision to reorganize the board?
My focus is on the academic side, the education, the workforce development. The athletic side has not driven my concerns.
Governor, what will you be looking for in a new president?
I have not spoken to him.
I'm sorry. What would you like to see in a new president at U of L, and do you have anybody in mind?
Again, I don't want to put a cart before the horse in terms of who people might be. What I would like to see is this board take their responsibility seriously. And just as previous boards have done here and in other places, when searching for a head of school, a university president needs to, above all else, be the #1 advocate for, emissary for, apologist for, cheerleader for the university. This is what we need. I mean, these are the things that I am looking for. Somebody who will unapologetically be all things University of Louisville. We need a strong research university in Louisville. We need one in this state. We're blessed to have a couple. This is one of them. We want it to be as strong as it can possibly be because it's an important part of the Louisville community and of Jefferson County and frankly of the entire Commonwealth. So I believe the board that I will put in place, I am confident, will come from a list of people, all of whom are qualified in some measure. I will try to choose the best among them to make decisions that will truly serve the Commonwealth well.
Have you talked to anyone about the presidency? Have you talked to anyone about being the next president?
No. Oh my goodness, that would be so remarkably presumptuous. And as a non-board member, it's not my role. It really isn't.
Does your action affect the U of L Foundation in any way or its governance?
It has always been, as you know, a very separate entity. That's been a bone of contention with some, but it is a separate entity. Obviously, my comments today are specific to the University of Louisville's board itself. The foundation is a private and separate organization.
Well, President Ramsey's chairing of that foundation.
Again, I have spoken to him only about his role at the University of Louisville. But I think it would be fair to say that his role as the foundation president has always been contingent with his leadership at the University of Louisville. I mean, that is, even now, the way it is structured is that the two have been one and the same. The leadership of one has been the leadership of the other. Some feel that it should not be that way. I think there's compelling argument on both sides, and I will leave it to the new board to determine whether they feel the next president should, in fact, have the degree of involvement at the foundation that the previous one has had. That will be a board decision made by the next board.
So this decision will effectively end the lawsuit, will it not, that's in place over the racial diversity on the board at the University of Louisville Board of Trustees? And how important will racial diversity and political diversity play in your appointing of those 10 members?
Again, there are things we're required to do statutorily. I'll be very honest, I'm looking for the best trustees. The demographics, racial makeup, political makeup, there are things we are required to do by law. We will be compliant with the law, something different than has historically been the case with this and other boards. We will comply with the letter of the law. But my real intent is to find the right people. They could all be this, that, or the other thing. If they truly are the best people, so be it. But we will comply to the degree there needs to be certain numbers of certain demographics, then that's what will be there. And I have no doubt whatsoever that is going to be easily met. There are very good, competent people in our state who care about the University of Louisville. So that will be accomplished.
Governor, beyond the letter of the law, what would be your major criteria for selecting trustees?
Again, I want people who look out for the best interest of the university. People who understand what it is to be the fiduciary of an institution of higher learning. People who understand that the sole purpose is to prepare young people who are graduates to become gainfully employed and productive citizens of the communities they go into. People who come from backgrounds that allow them to have expertise on this topic. People who come from the world of academia, perhaps, from the world of the legal world, perhaps, from the accounting world, perhaps, from the budgeting world, perhaps, from the business world, perhaps, from the world of people who have hired the very types of graduates that we want, from medicine, from research, all the things that we want these young people to become. I want the people making the decisions as to how they're going to become that to be those very people themselves some decades down the road in their lives.
And do you think these trustee seats, both at U of L and at UK and the Regent seats at other schools, have been used too much as political rewards?
No question. No question. That's,
Governor, what sort of a job do you think James Ramsey has done as president of the University of Louisville for the past several years?
well, it's been more than several. It's 14 years. I think you need to look at the totality of his time in office. And I will let his record speak for itself at this point. I know you asked me a specific question. I will simply say the university from where it was 14 years and change ago, not even the same. It's so remarkably better on any measurable front. And I think that should be something that there's nobody who could disagree with that. Have there been plenty of bumps in the road? Certainly. Have there been have there been too many in recent months and years? Yes. But in the totality, is the University of Louisville not many multiples on the positive front better than it was 14 years ago? Yes. I would defy anyone to think of a single category where it is in worse shape now than it was at the beginning of his tenure.
There was a recent report about the quality of care at the University of Louisville Hospital. Did that at all enter into your considerations?
Again, there have been many, many factors, many of which you all have reported on. The university has a large footprint. It touches many parts of not only the Louisville community, but frankly of the Commonwealth as a whole in this region of the country. And so it is important that we have the best leadership, that it is cohesive, that it is civil, that it is constructive, that it is efficient, and that the administration of the university can best be accomplished. That is the purpose of everything we're talking about today. Any other questions?
When will you announce the Medicaid waiver?
These things, again, are conversations that are being had. And again, I'm happy to take a couple questions on other fronts if you have an interest. I mean, that's an ongoing dialogue. We are in active discussions with Health and Human Services, specifically with CMS, Secretary Burwell. She and I have had multiple conversations in person, multiple meetings in person. Last week. And in fact, our teams talk at least once or twice a week, sometimes daily. So this is an ongoing conversation. There will be announcements coming out in the days ahead. There's obviously, as you know, there's going to be a time where there will be public discussion. Things will be put forward. You all and everyone else will have their opportunity to weigh in. That will be coming forward in the days ahead, so stay tuned. Other questions?
Will we be kept appraised of the finalists for these lists, or will you be making this?
No, I mean, no, with all due respect to you, that isn't your job, but you certainly will know who they are when they're there. I will be given a list of folks by CPE per the law. They are required to provide names to me. I will choose from those names when those names have been chosen and they are willing to accept those positions, because not everybody nominated necessarily wants to fill that role. So we will put people through the process of vetting them, ensuring that they do have an interest. And when that board is in fact constituted, which I expect it to be fully constituted with a non-interim but permanent board within 2 weeks, we will let you all know who those folks are.
Governor, I wanted to follow up on Jack's first question. Did you ask President Ramsey to resign as president?
I will.
in these discussions?
The answer that I gave, I could give you again, but I think you all heard it. I think it speaks exactly to what I would have you understand. If you don't remember it, I will tell you what it was again.
Tell me again.
You seriously don't. This is 3 times, Tom. You're not batting very well today. The bottom line is this. I have had many conversations with many people, including him, over a long period of time, for months and months, to the point that you asked about tipping points. There is no tipping point. It has been the agreement of all people with whom I've spoken, who are sincere in what they want for the University of Louisville, and he is one of them, who believe that the opportunity for a fresh start is the best thing for all people concerned. Given his belief, and the belief of the others as well, it was the most logical result of that he would tender his resignation. Something that he is able and willing to do because he wants what's best for the university. So this was something that I have received, something you will be given a copy of, something that will be taken by the next board, and we will have, in short order, a new board, ultimately a new president, and a new lease on life, an opportunity, and a true fresh start for the University of Louisville.